Page 44, March of the Extra-Terrestrials. Let's look it over. It's a page and a line long, okay. However, we got repeat signs on page 45, so it's really a little longer than that. Treble and bass clef, 4/4 time signature. We have accidentals all over the place. Now, this piece is actually in what's known as a whole tone scale, a whole tone mode. That means that there are no half steps involved. It's a whole step. Everything is pretty much a whole step. If you look at the chart they give you, you see they're using 2 black keys here, and then 3 white keys, and then 2 black keys. Well, that's a whole tone. Remember, there's only 2 of them, whole tones. You get white keys here and black keys here, because every step between them is a whole step. It's a whole tone. So you get here, or you get white keys here and black keys here. That's a whole tone, or a whole step scale, here or here. This is using this one. That's why it's sounding a little funny. I guess something to do with extraterrestrials, I guess. Anyway, check the hands, the fingering and all that. Right hand at the top of page 45. When it plays, you're up here. Remember, you're only using like these notes. It's a whole tone, so if you're in this position, you're going to use these notes. In it, if you check, you got G sharps and F sharps, and then the others are natural keys. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3. Remember the rules for accidentals. It's good from the point it's introduced to the rest of the measure. So all these G's so far are sharps, and they're going to be. Third measure over, 1 and 2. So, and then second line, third measure over, it's here. Just remember we're using these notes, that's all. Last line, you have an E and a G sharp together. And then that whole note is tied for the rest of the piece. They're all tied together. You just hold it down for the rest of the piece while the left hand does whatever the left hand does. Speaking of left hand, at the bottom of page 44, you have an A flat in here. Well, again, we're going to be using these notes. It's a whole tone scale. So yeah, you're going to get A flats and B flats. Then it's here. And then C, D, rest, and then you have an 8 VA in the next measure, and it's under the steps. You go down here, and then another one they're telling you not go 2 stabs lower. Well, that's lower than what's written in the music, not lower from where you were at. So now we just go down another octave down here. If you have a short keyboard, you don't have the notes, play the lowest ones you have. It's good enough. This is fine. Then top page 45, you're back up here. You're just going back and forth. Second line, it's a B flat. Remember, we're playing these notes. I don't think you're using the F sharp, but you're playing these notes. That's all. Last line, A flat, C, 1, M. That's about all you're doing, except for the last 2 measures. You got to go 2 octaves down again. You go down here. That's 1 octave, 2 octaves. Put the hands together, starting at the top page 45. You're up here. And you think, that sounds so, yeah. Well, it's a whole tone scale, and it's a different harmony slightly. But once you get used to it, it's not quite so, yeah. I guess that's true with most things. But just hang in there, because we get pieces in whole tone scales sometimes, and you can eventually learn to appreciate the harmony. Some people like it right off the bat. Other people, like me, took quite a long time to get to where they could at least tolerate it. Now, once you put the hands together, and working them together okay, then I go back and I put in the articulation and the fermatas and stuff. I'm going to hinge at the wrist for the staccato short. I'm on the key and I'm bouncing off each time. Then I go back on the key before I play the next one. Boom. Down here. Down here. Okay. Top of page 45, I'm going to connect some of the right hand, but the left hand's still staccato. So you're holding that down, but I'm not at the same time. And then both. Like so. Alright. At the bottom, the last line, staccatos went away here. It's all together. And then you're holding that down as you do that. And that's not staccato now, that's connected there at the bottom, at the end. Yeah. As far as the fermatas go, you hold it out as long as you feel is right. Like at the bottom of page 44, the last measure, you're here. You have a fermata in the last beat. You have a fermata in the top staff because they need a fermata in both staves so both hands hold. But the fermata that we're using, that controls what's going on is right now is the fermata over the quarter rest. And that means you just hold that rest out a little longer. How much longer? Whatever feels right. If I do it with a metronome, I'll hold it for 2 beats instead of 1 and then go on so I can stay with a metronome. But otherwise, I just hold it for whatever feels right and then go on. Same thing at the end of the third line on page 45, the quarter rest. You just hold that quarter rest out a little longer. And at the bottom line, second measure here. 3 beats, 1, 2, 3, rest, and the rest I'm just holding out. The right hand is just hold down, but I just hold that rest out a little longer and then go on. Yeah, you feel it. Now, on the road map, you get the repeat signs on page 45. At the end of the third line, that sends you back to the reverse repeat sign at the top, so you play it twice. There is a note above the first 2 lines there, second time 8 VA, which means the right hand, not the left, just the right hand, you're going to go up here and play them. Up here. The left hand stays where it's at. So the first time you're here, when you repeat, now you're up here. Well, you have a rest at the end of the third line. The right hand isn't doing anything. Right? So you got plenty of time to come up here and be ready to go. When you finish the second line, second time, you're here. And the 8 VA goes away, well, so do the notes. The right hand isn't playing anything. So you got plenty of time to come back down here for the last line. So you got plenty of time to move around here. As far as the speed goes, well, moderato, just think of little green men going around doing something. I don't know what they're doing. Now for dynamics, P for piano, soft at the beginning, whatever you think soft is. Then top of page 45, F for forte, and that's the right hand, that's the melody. The left hand needs to be in the background. Second line, let's come down to moderately loud, mezzo forte. Third line, you're soft again. The last line, you're loud, and this is going to be both hands here. It's a last 2 measures, you have a P for soft. You're soft. You hold the right hand down, it's just there in the head. All the time I'm doing this, I'd still like to hear this. Don't drown it out if you can. This is loud, so it takes time to die away. But you got to be really soft here. Don't use the soft pedal, that's cheating. You got to learn to do it with the hands. Now they've added pedal for the last line. That's fine if you want to use pedal, go ahead, I guess. I don't know about that, but they're doing it. Push the pedal down with the notes or right after, whichever, doesn't matter. I'd say right after, except it's loud, so you can start the overtones immediately. Just push the pedal down. And you're going to hold the pedal down all the way to the end of the piece and lift it with the hands. I'm not going to bother showing pedal if that's all they're going to do with it. So you can do that. You just push it down for the last line. I wouldn't use it anywhere else. We don't want to cover up the staccatos. last two measures, you see it's slower up there, you just slow it down. Just okay. Apparently they've stopped marching and now they're kind of standing still. Let's play it together very slowly and double check the notes and the rhythms. I'm not going to do any dynamics. I'm playing all about the same. I won't do any pedaling because you can hear it better without the pedal. But we will do the repeat and all that. So I'll give us 4 counts. 1, 2, ready, go. Rest. Rest. Rest, hold. Rest, rest, repeat, rest, 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 hold. 1, 2, 3, rest, hold.